Okay, guys, so thanks for joining. I'd love to hear, this is
Thank
such
you.
an actor's piece and these intense relationships. I know you had some rehearsal time on this. How did you guys start working together and working out these dynamics that you were going to have?
Well, we all knew each other already.
Mm-hmm.
Mona and I have been friends for a long time. Mona was one of the first people I met when I moved to New York. Brady and I have been friends for a long time. Met these guys through Mona before, so we got together a lot and just talked about the script, especially as Brady and Mona were writing it.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of like fleshed out these ideas and just kind of made sure everyone's kind of on the same page about what we were trying to do. So, we didn't have so much rehearsal time in terms of acting out the scenes, but just a lot of talking. Kitchen table.
Yeah.
Talking, beforehand.
Yeah.
So being involved as it's being written then must also have been, or at least being around it. And,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
since we had such short time of shooting it, what was good was that we really worked on, like, we had the same common understanding about all
Yeah.
the scenes. So it was like when then first came to the house, and then we had like 1 week where we blocked everything, and then so when we were shooting, we didn't have the big surprises where we had to like go through. So
Also too, like when we would just before shooting, we would have the chance to, like, if the words didn't feel correct in our characters' mouths, they would give us a chance to try and work with that.
I would think also, there's so much, you have a lot of intense moments, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fight, there's love scenes, there's things to have that trust and foreknowledge of each other. I think I would, especially having that much time to shoot and find things.
Mm-hmm.
well, that was also probably, it was a good thing that we knew each other from before.
Yeah.
Like we had never acted together, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I knew Chris well, so that I was very comfortable when we were doing the harder scenes,
Yeah.
It's
because I didn't have to learn to know him while we're shooting. It was like, so for me that was a big help
Yeah,
to do the challenging scenes.
yeah.
yeah, you can sort of fast track that to get the more intimacy
Yeah.
immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Just being, like shot for shot in the film was all very specific. Like we had that week of, which wasn't really rehearsal, but it was blocking, and because each shot was mapped out before we did it, and a lot of the shots were all one take,
Right.
kind of deals. So even just going
Yeah.
through the physical motions of all that stuff beforehand, you're just kind of comfortable in the space you're in before you had to do some of those scenes.
Well, you two in particular, do you have sisters? It's an amazing relationship. It's different.
It is.
And you guys have, it's like there's a physicality, you work together.
Well,
Uh,
we have we went to school together.
Yeah, we know each other quite well.
Ah,
We're
well.
good friends.
And in a way, we've had that a little bit of that sister relationship where you have those different like you have like
roles that you fall
roles
into.
in we also have sisters in real life, both of us,
We each
and
have a
I
sister. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it is a really interesting relationship. Mona also has lots of sisters actually, so that whole the whole thing about like you have these roles from where you grew up, and then you become an adult, and you're trying to like get out of those patterns, and then you drag each other back into it, and there's like this ton of love, and at the same time there is so much frustration.
Yeah.
Like you said, the very physicality, like the intimacy, and at the same time, it's a very duality. Do you say that? Like
Yeah.
It's a-
yeah.
There's dichotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess they've been estranged for some time, and then it's interesting to come back into each other's lives and see that dynamic and whether it's changed and how it's changing
Yeah.
over those days.
Now, I told you before that I saw your play, the Lucy Thurber play you did in New York, and it's in a way there's a similar character here,
There's-
very
yeah.
different from maybe known from Girls doing. There's a loving, nurturing guy, but just beneath the surface there's fury, there's a potential for violence. What is it interesting or attractive about that sort of character?
Well, even like with that play that you saw that I did, it's type of it's type of world also that I kind of grew up in. It was very similar. Like this movie takes place in Massachusetts. I grew up in Connecticut, but a very similar world. And those plays also took place in Massachusetts.
Right.
It's the frustration that like some of these characters that these guys have, or a lot of it has to do with this frustration with their language and not being able to express themselves with words so much. And so, especially the dynamic between him and when Ira, Brady's character, comes in, it's kind of this more, slightly more pompous and white collar and very articulate. When those two characters are kind of confronted with each other, it's like one just kind of reacts with violence more
Right.
than he does with his words. You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of I've always found that interesting. Like when you have this. You know, these hardships with language, you don't know how to articulate yourself. It's like how else do you get out that energy? You know, and I think both of them have that similar quality.
Do you find a character through the physicalities? Because things I've seen you do, you hold yourself differently, you move differently each time. I'm sure everyone kind of does
Yeah.
that. But is that a place you start with?
Personally, I guess clothing more is where it kind of for me. It kind of starts with, and then and then it kind of I don't know. I don't think about it too much, but it kind of starts to just bleed into one another.
Mm-hmm.
So you start wearing this this hoodie, and then you start to make your shoulders a little bit different. You know, it's all about what you wear.
Yeah.
If you wear your button-up shirt and you tie it up to your neck, then you're gonna sit differently and stand it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with clothing, and even like in some projects, if I've been wearing clothes that I had in my home, I would never be able to wear them afterwards. I can wear clothes that I was acting in and then wear them, but like because it just represents something that is different, that's someone else, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
And costume absolutely works, and it's all the process. You go into the character and you get to know them and how they work, and then you have the clothing, and then you just kind of like transform into the way they act.
I feel like more for me, it's like the trying to find some like some kind of physicality, or like where her center is, or where what they're driven by, energetically speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
your
then
character in the
that
movie is nothing like how you're holding yourself right now.
Yeah, and like just finding what the center that sort of drives them and motivates them, and then that affects the physicality,
Yeah.
and of course costume. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's really nice, actors' vehicle is when I enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for coming along. Good luck
Thank you
this
for
week.
having me.
Thank you for having us.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.